Good morning, friends. It's me, Aggie. I thought I'd do this impromptu live to talk about this sketch that I did this morning. If you want to see me doing this sketch, you can see it on my YouTube channel, Agnes Friedlander Art Studio. And it was a lot of fun. I got the picture on Pixabay, and it's called a Pasque flower. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But these are really gorgeous flowers. And today I just wanted to talk with you about, sketching can be so much fun because you can try out an idea and it's not a big commitment. You can do it pretty quickly. And sometimes, like what happened with me today, you realize, wow, this would really be a great painting. And what goes on in my mind, um, what I start thinking about is what I wanted to share with you in this video today. So I suggest you hang out and watch this with me. I think you'll get a lot out of it, especially if you, need to find some inspiration, want to get back into doing more art this year. This would be, I think, a great thing for you to do. So, okay. First of all, find a photo that really inspires you, that you really like. And it's not hard to find. I mean, when you go on, there's so many great websites now where you can get free images, copyright free images that you can download. So I think I got this one from Pixabay. Yes, I did. I got it from Pixabay. And you can just hop on over to Pixabay and type in this Pasque flower or type in wildflowers. That's what we're sketching. I'm probably going to continue doing these sketching sessions with you live every morning at 6 a.m. Central, probably the whole month of February. We'll see how it goes. If I'm not live on the day that you look, there'll probably be other ones that you could watch. I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel, trying to build up my following, and offer more lives and more inspiration and everything. So hopefully you'll be inspired. If you're watching me now, say hello, comment. I'll share some comments. Okay, so let's go. What we did here is I found a picture that I really, really liked. This is a beautiful photo. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Let me get it out over here on my iPad. And I forgot it was Groundhog Day today. Here it is. So pardon my light, but isn't that an awesome photo? Gotta just kind of disregard the light. Really, really pretty. I mean, look at those gorgeous colors. So find a photo that you really like, and when you're judging a photo, look for, what would I make the main focal point? What would be the focal point? And are there any additional focal points that I can make less important? So what I did, even on this sketch, is, this is the focal point flower. I kind of used this line to make it a focal point, and I put more detail on this one. I also have it positioned right in that, use the thirds rule, the rule of thirds, where you put the tic-tac-toe on your sketch or on your canvas, and where two of the lines intersect. Like if I put a tic-tac-toe right here would be where I have my finger and thumb. Those would be the points where you, it's a good place to have your focal point. So this is my focal point flower right there. And it may not be really, really obvious on this, although I think it's fairly obvious. When I go to paint it, I can really drive it home and make it even more so the focal point by use of color. In terms of saturation, I could have a more saturated purple on that particular flower, all the other flowers less saturated. And I can also use more contrast in the focal point. So those are the two main things that we use to create a focal point. The other thing, let me switch to this. The other thing we can do, I'll slide this over a little bit. is use line. So a lot of these lines are pointing in the direction, kind of pointing to that focal flower. Um, and so I'm already thinking about establishing focal point in my sketch. And you do want to do a sketch first because it helps you plan all this stuff out. Have you ever started a painting and there's so many decisions that you have to make that you don't even finish the painting because it's too hard? It's because you didn't have these questions answered. And so these are the questions that you need to ask yourself before you start painting so that you can plan out your composition and plan out how you're going to paint. So the other thing, the next thing I like to ask myself is, what is the feeling that I want the viewer to experience when they're looking at my painting? And it doesn't have to be a real elaborate thing. I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel um, joyful. I want them to feel thoughtful. I want them to feel relaxed. Uh, Maybe I want to shake things up, or maybe I want them to feel movement. Maybe I want them to feel in touch with nature. Whatever it is, come up with a couple of ideas. And very often, the way that you would convey that feeling is through the use of color. Um, so yeah, the color palette, lines give mood. We've got movement happening because of the lines. Like for instance, with a landscape, the sky can really convey a lot of mood. The shape of the clouds, the colors of the clouds, what time of day it is, all of that can really convey a mood. Okay, and so then the next thing, when you are choosing a reference image, and that's a biggie, a lot of people don't even realize that they should use a reference image. Definitely, definitely always find a reference image or two, maybe even three, that you kind of combine together to make it your own. Even photographs have copyright, so you don't want to copy a photo per se. You want to change it around. Now, this was a copyright-free image on Pixabay, so I kind of copied the photo, but I did change it up a bit, according to what I think will make it a good painting. But you always want to have a reference image. And when you're deciding on a reference image, a lot of reference images are taken with really diffused sunlight, and there's no definitive light source, and that can be difficult when you're painting because you don't really have a place to put shadows. You don't really see a strong light source. So think about that when you are looking through reference images, if that's what you're doing, or if you're shooting your own photo. I suggest you take your photos early in the morning when the shadows are long, or later in the evening. Again, when with the sun is setting, the shadows are longer. It just makes things look much more interesting. So that's the next thing is the light. Where is the light coming from? Do I have a strong shadow pattern? Do I have a pattern at all? That makes a painting interesting. And it just makes it so much easier to paint. Okay. The fourth thing that I want to share with you, I have 8 points. There's 8 things, 8 questions. The last one I'm going to share with you on here is the cropping of the photo. So you want to keep in mind, what size canvas are you going to do this on? How big is it going to be? How big should it be? Should it be horizontal? We call that a landscape. Should it be vertical? We call that portrait. Some things lend themselves to being vertical. Like think about churches. When you're in a church, the height of the church just kind of sends your eyes upward. Sorry, I hit my camera. Sends your eyes upward, looking to the heavens. There's a reason why churches are tall and send our thoughts upward. Or is a landscape better? A wide panoramic view of the land, it just evokes that feeling of peacefulness. When you see a horizon line and a wide a wide image before you, it just gives you that feeling that you're there when it's nice and wide. Or sometimes a square canvas is just really balanced and more impactful. It just makes more sense to use a square. So which size would really make sense? What cropping, what orientation, I guess is really what it's called, would make the most sense? What would really lend itself to your subject matter that you're doing? For instance, if I just wanted to do this one single flower, maybe a square would be better, to just square these two off, or even just square that one off. That would probably make a lot more sense if I really want to bring you into focus and balance, you know? So that's a big one to consider. And you want to make sure that when you do your sketch, that you use the same aspect ratio. So aspect ratio is the height and the width, you know, in relation to each other. So for instance, when you see some common canvas sizes, which I've got listed here, common canvas sizes are, let me just place it down here so it doesn't do that blurry stuff. So like I was just talking about a square, that would be a 1-to-1. The length and the width are the same. It's 1-to-1. 6x6, 12x12. A lot of people are doing 8x8s and 6x6s. I love that size. But maybe you want to do a 1-to-2. You want to make it a vertical, then maybe you want to use a 6x12 instead. Or maybe for this one, I want to do a 6x12 the wide way, so that it's 12 inches wide by 6 inches high. So then you would want to make sure when you're sketching it, for instance, let's say I have a 6x12 canvas or substrate that I want to use. Then when I go to sketch it, if I'm doing a little thumbnail sketch, maybe I would do my thumbnail sketch half size at 3x6, just to make sure everything is going to proportion out right when I transfer it from my sketch to my final. Because I've seen people use a sketch that's intended for an 8x10 and then try and make it into a 9x12 or an 11x14, and it just doesn't work. The cropping changes. So you want to consider that. And that's really, let's see, the other things are really more for when you go to paint, the next points that I'm sharing here. So I also have in this little document that I made, I'm sharing this with the members. I have 140 ladies in my group that are all very interested in improving their paintings and making glass and resin art. And, you know, that's what I do. I love teaching and sharing what I have learned along my journey. And so when I created this, the thought was, okay, what are things that they should be thinking about before they start their painting? And then during the painting process, what happens when you're right in the middle of a painting, the typical things that happen. Do you have things that happen to you? Comment, place them in the comments if you would. Hey, Christina. So Christina is one of my members, and she's saying, thank you for all this info. You're such a great teacher. And oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. You are too. I am so glad you're in my group. Christina, you're so sweet. What are some things that you go through? Comment below if you would, please. I would love to hear what happens during your painting. Are there some things that happen for you and you're like, oh, I should have thought of that. Darn it, why didn't I think of that? Does that happen to you? Please share below. Don't be afraid to share. You're probably going to help someone else if you share that. What can happen with me a lot of times is I can kind of lose the drawing. Does that happen to you? It's like, oh, something went a little bit astray. I can't really see this part anymore, you know? So there are some things that you could do for that, right? Or maybe when you're in the middle of painting, typically, and this still happens to me, I get so involved in what I'm doing that I'm not really paying quite enough attention to my color mixes. And, you know, they're not the color mixes that I really wanted. So we have a way around that, that we do in the painter's journey. And, you know, basically it's just practicing your colors. So you need a methodology. When you realize that there's something that you're having a hard time with, you need to come up with a method to help you fix that issue, right? Oh, Christina says, yes, that happens, or else she can't hide the lines. That's a good point too. That's a really good point too. So as we do more of the work, we realize things about ourselves and the way that we work, and then we come up with a workaround, you know. So anyway, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is one that I want to paint. I really, I know what I wanted to do. I want to share with you what I would do different. So, I mean, it's not a painting, so I'm going to skip the middle part, but when we get to the end, you know, when we're done with the painting, where is that? So there are 4 questions to ask yourself after you have painted, right? So, she says, "Let's paint this one." I know. I think I do want to paint this one. So what I want you to ask yourself after, even after a sketch, I want you to ask yourself what is working and what isn't. Okay. I know. Autocorrect. Autocorrect can be such a pain, right? Okay, so what is working and what is not working in here? For me, I'm going to take a few minutes to kind of evaluate that. Um, hey, Teresa. Teresa says, I'm going to buy a sketch pad today and try drawing. So, yes, that's awesome. I want you to say, instead of try drawing, I'm going to buy a sketch pad today and start drawing. How about that? Anybody can draw. It's just putting a pencil on paper and moving it around. You can do it. Okay. And watch the video then, Teresa, and it'll help you. I think it should help you. Okay, so what works in this, what I really like about it is I really love um, the path. I like how it's created this path. There's this kind of oval path happening, and I think that that did work. Perhaps I could have had one more flower right in here to connect these. I might do that. If I go to paint this, that probably I would do something to connect these two together a little bit more, I think. Or else maybe I would turn this one slightly or move it over. I feel like I want it to connect just a bit more. Something needs to connect so that this path is a little more, is a little stronger. The other thing is I really don't like this stem. That's the big thing. The main thing is I really don't like that. And if I cover that up, right, let me, if I just cover that up, sometimes what I'll do is let my brain imagine what would look better. I honestly think it would look better to have the stem kind of coming from here. Um, I like the curviness of all of these. Yes, it's too straight. That's the thing. And I did it straight on purpose to make it stand out, but it's standing out too much. It's just too much. It might work if there were a flower in front of it, like if this were over here, then it would work. But I still think that I'd like it to curve a little bit better. I love the movement. What the happy surprise for me is this beautiful movement. I love these tendrils, these leaves, and I think I'd want to play that up a little bit more. So very often when you see what does work, it helps you with what didn't work. Exactly. So like Christina pinpointed it. She said, you know, too straight. I'm trying to show that. Oh, wait, I was trying to show this one. Yeah, it's too straight. And the reason why we realized it's too straight is because we really like the curve ones. So, you know, sitting back and evaluating like this is just so helpful. Okay. And then second point, what was kind of difficult? What you have a hard time with? And what might need to be reworked? A lot of times what gives you a hard time is going to tell you what needs to be kind of worked on again. And actually, let's see, what did I have a hard time with? I don't think I don't think I really had too hard of a time with any of this. It really did flow. Um, so, but we just discussed what needs reworking is that stem. I just don't like that stem. And I know what I would do. I would probably make it come from this way. I was looking for my pad of tracing paper, and I'm kind of so annoyed that I couldn't find it. So what you could do if you had a sheet of tracing paper or even, I guess even something clear, put something clear over this and draw the way you wanna do it. So, if I had a piece of tracing paper, I'd put it over that and I would draw the stem the way that I want it to be and see how it looks. That's the word movement. That's what I enjoy about this. Yeah, it almost has a Van Gogh kind of feeling, right? And then here someone is saying, Facebook user, sorry, it's not showing your name. It's usually scale for me. Ah, so for scale, if something isn't right with scale, you probably need a little bit more sketching practice and just starting out with drawing really basic shapes and seeing how the shapes relate to each other. Hey, Michelle. Okay, it's Michelle. So draw your basic shapes first, making sure that you have them placed where you want them and that they are relating to the other shapes the way you want them. And then you have to kind of stick with that plan and don't change it as you're going. But that's a great point. And parchment paper. I almost grabbed my sheet of parchment paper, but we use so much of it here that I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And then the other question is, if I were to repaint this, what, if anything, would I do differently? So of course I didn't paint this, but if I were to re-sketch this again, I would get rid of this straight stem and I would do a lot more swervy lines. The other thing I wanted to point out, let me show you something. And this is why it's really good to look at reference photos. But when I go look at this Pasque flowers on Pixabay, right, there's this image. Let me turn this light off. Get this out of the way. Oh. Okay, so there's this image, and then this is the same flower. And from looking at this one, what we see is that, oh, I didn't realize I was pulling my camera up that far. I forgot about that. Is that it's got this tuft of tendrils that come out kind of with the flower. You can see it over here on this one. Maybe that's where the seed pod starts. It starts there, grows these leaves, and then the flower comes out of there. So I didn't know that when I started sketching these. And now that I have thought about this a little bit more, I would use that when I'm sketching this. So for instance, I would put, there would be like on this one right here, there would literally be a bunch of these leaves coming out of here. So I would actually draw the whole thing quite a bit differently. I don't know if you can really see that. Because when I look at the reference photo, that's what you see. You see a bunch of leaves, like 2 or 3 inches below the flower is where a bunch of tendrils come out of the stem. And then that would have been the case with this one. It's almost like it has a peacock tail, you know, it's got this flourish that goes with it, which makes it even more enticing. It makes it an even more interesting flower to paint. Okay, let's see. Christina says, oh, wow, they're purple. I thought they were going to be yellow. Isn't that funny? The centers are yellow. I like it even more. I like it even more now that they're purple. I know, right? We're going to have to paint this one. Okay, and then Lynn says, I'm new. What do you use the parchment paper for? Oh, what we were talking about, Lynn, is first of all, we're talking about questions to ask yourself after, before, during, and after a painting, but you can also use this checklist. Lynn is in the membership too. So I just shared this checklist yesterday with the members of the Painter's Journey. That's my membership. And you can use it also for a sketch. So I thought I would hop on here and share what questions I ask myself before, during, and after a sketch. During doesn't really apply. During applies more to paintings. But so in the after, what I am suggesting is I don't like this stem to redraw it. You could put a sheet of something over this and draw on that. You could use tracing paper or parchment paper or clear or whatever. So that's all. That's all we were talking about. Does anybody know about these flowers? These Pasque flowers? I have never heard of them. But anyway, I think that's it. Those are the 4 questions. What worked well? What needs to be reworked? I didn't talk about this one. What number 3, does this painting or sketch evoke the feeling that I wanted it to? Or, am I saying what I wanted to say? And it's, if you can write that down beforehand, and I mean, usually with flowers, we probably just want people to feel happy, peaceful, connected to nature, things like that. I don't know. If you can think of other things, let me know, comment below. But I think that I did, I think it does give a feeling of happiness, but there's also the spontaneity and movement. It's a little bit wild. It's a little bit, I don't know. What other words would you use? Christina says peaceful. Um, Len says, okay, thanks. I'll go back and print that out. Yes, 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 yes. They look like balloon flowers. Oh, I don't know what those are. So, yes, when you're evaluating anything that you've done, playful, that's a great word. Oh, yes, playful. That's perfect. And maybe we could even call them playful Pasque flowers or something like that. I like using 2 words when I name my paintings and my classes. So does it evoke the feeling? But here's the thing, you guys. If it doesn't evoke that feeling, it's okay. It's totally okay because, sometimes we change the plan somewhere along the way. It's like, well, I wanted to do that, but now I see it this way and I want to do this. And that's okay. So is that intentional or is it an accident? It's okay if it's an accident. And by the way, all of this is for you. It's for you to keep for yourself, to get to know yourself better. Okay. And I just want you to write these things down for yourself. I want you to, really spend time with work that you have done in the past. A lot of times we just move on and start another painting. Well, really, each painting teaches us a lesson if we let it, if we sit and look at it and ponder and evaluate it. Okay, what worked? What didn't work? What would I do different? How could I have done it better? How would it look if I did this? What if I did that? That sort of thing. So yeah, sometimes the painting is going to guide you and the painting is going to tell you, like this sketch is telling me it wants to be playful and loose and have this movement. It doesn't want this straight line. It's not working. It's telling me that. Write these things down and remember, it really is a starting point. When you write these things down beforehand, it's just a starting point. It's not your destination. That could change, but it is important. My tip to you today is to spend time pondering your paintings. Do some pondering. Okay, let's see. The common name. Oh, okay. So the common name. Thank you so much, Teresa. The common name is balloon flower? That is awesome. I did not know that. Okay, Wikipedia says it's native to NA prairies and meadows, flowers around Easter period. Never noticed them before. What are, North American prairies? Okay. Ah, how cool is that? I love our wildflowers. So, all right, my friends. Balloon flower. Yeah, that does make it even more playful. Oh, Christina, you're such a joy. Playful balloon flowers. Or what would we name it? I don't know, but I think we have to paint this. Oh, I'm going to write that down. AKA balloon flowers. All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you are interested in this, these painting questions, I have to say I'm only offering it to members of my membership. But if this has sparked an interest and a curiosity in you and you'd like to check out more, we would love to have you. My membership is open. It's $37 a month. You get 2 new classes a month, and usually they are paintings and or glass and resin projects. Sometimes there's a painting underneath, sometimes there's not, but then there's always a painting lesson, and there are, I think, 160 lessons available in the membership right now. So we would love to have you. If you want more information about that, just message me or comment below, tag me. My name is Agnes Friedlander. And again, hope you have a great day. Happy Groundhog's Day. I don't know. I think, did the groundhog say that it's going to be bad? It's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. Of course it's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. I'm in Wisconsin. Who are we kidding? Oh, thank you, Christina. Thank you, thank you. It's also just nice to be. Yeah, it really is. If you're an artist, you know, you might not even call yourself an artist. There are so many of us that it takes years to even be able to call ourselves an artist. Why? Why is that so hard? If you're creating, if you're striving to create, you are an artist. Okay? So if you want to be around other people, you know, like-minded people doing the same thing, we have a tremendously warm group, tight-knit group of friends, you know, and I think you would love us. Such a good point, Christina. Thank you. And we have this exclusive thing. We do a messenger chat group on Facebook. So we kind of chat all day. Some days are quieter than others. If that sounds like that would be overwhelming for you, you can turn the notifications off and just go check in when you want to. Or you don't even have to necessarily be in the messenger chat if you don't want to, you know. But the messenger chat will accommodate up to 200 people. So I don't even have 200 members yet. At some point, we're going to have to go to, I think it's called Telegram, and accommodate a larger amount of friends all in one group. I would love to go to upstate New York. Lynn. Okay, we're getting more little things here. Thanks, Michelle. Yes, our group is very encouraging and fun. The chat room is so fun, and you learn so much from all the other members too. Yeah, like if you're having a problem or if you need help with something, just pop it in there, and somebody will respond right away. That's the nice thing. If you want somebody to respond right away, that's a good way to do it. I know. I do want to come down there, Christina. I was actually thinking about that today. I'm like, how can I get down to Florida? I need to book something. All right, I'm going to run. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And again, message me, Agnes Friedlander, if you're interested in the membership. I'll send you the PayPal link. You can be joining us like today if you wanted to. Okay, bye.